Level 1. The trade that goes nowhere. You have been at the fund for 4 months. You have spent 11 weeks building the thesis, not assigned to you. You found it, a mid-cap industrial that the market has been reading wrong. You can see it in the inventory data, in the channel checks, in the gap between what management is guiding and what the supply chain is actually doing. You write the pitch, 14 pages. You present it on a Tuesday to a PM who has been running money since before you finished high school. He listens for 7 minutes. He asks 2 questions. You answer correctly. He nods. The position never gets put on. No explanation, no follow-up. The idea simply does not become a trade. It joins the inventory of ideas that existed in this building for a week and then stopped existing.
You learn the first thing this career teaches. Having a correct thesis is not the same thing as making money. The market does not reward being right in a room. It only rewards being right in a position. This is what every level of a hedge fund career actually looks like. Not the version that gets written about in profiles, not the return numbers in the marketing deck. The real version, what each level actually asks for, what it actually costs, and the specific thing almost nobody can do consistently enough to build a career here. In investment banking, you can measure your output. The pitch deck exists. The model was completed. The hours were worked. In a hedge fund, the market measures your output for you, every day, with a number that has no interest in your process, your effort, or the quality of your reasoning. It has interest in one thing only, whether the position made money. You are 25 years old. Your base salary is $185,000. In a good year, the bonus doubles it. In a bad year, it doesn't. You build models that are technically excellent and occasionally wrong in ways that cost real capital. You pitch ideas that are sometimes approved and sometimes stopped out and sometimes never put on at all. You sit in rooms where decisions are made that you don't fully understand yet, based on factors that aren't in any of the models. You are learning a language that has no textbook. The market doesn't know your name. The first year, it will remind you of this daily.
Level 2. The override. You own a sector now, not a title, an actual allocation of intellectual responsibility. The healthcare book, the energy names, the consumer discretionary positions that nobody else wanted to cover because the data's messy and the management teams are inconsistent and the thesis cycles are long. You wanted it. You took it. You have a position in a specialty pharma company. Your thesis? The market has mispriced the probability of FDA approval on a pipeline asset. You have done the work, the clinical data, the comparable approvals, the channel checks with physicians. You sized the position at 2% of the book. The PM lets you run it. 3 weeks later, the PM cuts the position to 0.8%. No conversation. An email. Trimming the pharma exposure. Adjust the model. You adjust the model. You watch the position. 6 weeks after the trim, the FDA issues a complete response letter. Not an approval, but not a rejection. The market overreacts. The stock drops 18%. Your trimmed position loses less than it would have. The PM was right. You are watching this happen, but not the way you thought you would be. You were right about the direction. You were right about the timeline. You were wrong about the size. Or rather, the PM understood something about portfolio construction in that moment that your thesis work had not accounted for. Being right about a stock and being right about a position are 2 different skills. The analysts who make it to PM use being overridden as a seminar. They study it. They ask, not in the meeting, not to the PM, but privately, why the override happened. What were they not seeing about the portfolio context, the liquidity, the correlation to other positions, the fund's current risk posture? The ones who don't make PM take it personally, and then take it personally again and again. Being right too early in a hedge fund is indistinguishable from being wrong. The second thing this level teaches, your thesis is one input. The portfolio is the output. You are not running the portfolio yet. Understanding the difference is what earns you the right to.
Level 3. The drawdown. You have capital now. Not a sector, not a book you run alongside someone else's decisions. Capital. $400 million of it allocated to you by a fund that has decided you are capable of generating returns on it. The decision to allocate to you took 2 years of internal debate. You know this because someone told you. You were not in the room. The first year you were up 14%. The fund's benchmark is up 9%. You are correct about more positions than you are wrong about, and the positions you are correct about are sized correctly, and the year ends with the kind of number that earns you the right to continue. The second year is different. You have a thesis on a sector that you have spent 18 months developing, the short side of a heavily indebted consumer discretionary segment that the market has been treating as stable because the credit spreads haven't moved yet. They will move. You are certain of this. The thesis is tight, the work is thorough, the position is 7% of the book. The thesis is wrong for 7 months. Not wrong in the sense that the fundamentals have changed. The fundamentals are exactly what you said they would be. The credit spreads widen, the over-leveraged names show the stress exactly as modeled. But the timing is 7 months later than the thesis anticipated, and for 7 months, the position costs you 340 basis points, while the market runs against you, and the investors in your fund send emails that your operations team forwards to you without comment. The drawdown is not a number on a screen. It is a daily question. Is the thesis intact, or am I defending a position because I built it? You do not know the answer with certainty. No one does. That is the specific agony of the PM level. You are required to make high-conviction decisions under conditions of fundamental uncertainty, with real capital, with other people's money, in real time. You hold the position. The credit event arrives in month 8. The position resolves. The year ends flat. Not the year you wanted, not the year the investors wanted, but the thesis was correct and the position survived long enough to prove it. There are 2 kinds of PMs who go through a drawdown like this. The ones who learn that their job is not to be right, it is to be right and still be standing when the thesis resolves. And the ones who won't let themselves be in that position again and spend the rest of their careers taking less risk than the mandate allows, hoping nobody notices. A drawdown is not a verdict on your thesis. It is a test of your relationship with uncertainty. Level 4. The team. You are no longer the best investor in the room. This is not a failure. It is the job. You are responsible for 4 PMs and 11 analysts. Combined AUM under your oversight, $2.1 billion. Your compensation is now a function of the performance of the entire structure beneath you, not just your own positions, which you still run at a reduced scale, because you have not fully accepted that your edge as an individual investor is no longer the primary thing the fund needs from you. That tension between what you are good at and what the role now requires is the defining feature of Level 4. The best hedge fund investors are often optimized for a specific kind of solitary conviction. They do their work alone, they sit with uncertainty alone, they make decisions alone. These are not collaborative skills. The PM who survived a 7-month drawdown by maintaining conviction through investor pressure did so partly by not listening to anyone. Now the job is to build an environment where other people can do that. You hire a PM from a competing fund, strong track record, excellent process, difficult personality. He does not take feedback well. He argues with the risk team. He resents the oversight that comes with running capital inside a larger structure.
he is also right about positions more consistently than anyone else in the building. You have to decide what this person costs the team and what they contribute to it. The calculation is not financial, it is cultural, and the answer is not obvious. At level 3, a bad decision cost you basis points and investor patience. At level 4, a bad decision about a person costs you 2 years of culture and the analysts who leave because of it. The best investors often make the worst managers. The skills don't transfer. The ego makes it worse. The ones who succeed at level 4 are the ones who understood early enough that their job had changed. Not gradually changed, fundamentally changed. And who had the self-awareness, rare in a career that selects for certainty, to become a different kind of person before the role required it.
Level 5. The last investor. You started the fund with $200 million. Seed capital from 2 institutional investors who had watched you run capital for a decade and decided your track record was worth backing before the infrastructure existed to support it. The first year, you ran lean. 4 people, a prime brokerage relationship, a compliance consultant on retainer. You did not take a salary. Everything went back into building the structure. That was 11 years ago. You now manage $4.2 billion. The problem with $4.2 billion is a problem nobody warned you about when you were pitching your seed capital deck. At $200 million, you could move in and out of positions without moving the market. You could identify an opportunity, build a position quietly over 3 weeks, and by the time the thesis resolved, the market had not fully adjusted to your presence. At $4.2 billion, you are the market in certain names. When you begin buying a mid-cap position, the market notices. When you begin selling, it notices faster. Other funds watch your 13F filings the way you used to watch management guidance. Your position changes are signals. Your exits are events. You cannot be nimble at this scale. You can only be patient. A bad year at $4.2 billion is not the same as a bad year at $400 million. At $400 million, a bad year costs you performance and investor patience. At $4.2 billion, a bad year triggers redemptions. And redemptions at scale force you to liquidate positions at exactly the wrong time, at prices the market has already moved against you, in front of every other fund in the world that knows you're selling. The fund's size has become its own risk factor. You manage it the way a PM manages a position, with awareness of your own footprint, your own visibility, your own capacity to move the thing you are trying to trade. The CIO's job is not to be the best investor in the room, it is to be the last investor in the room, the one still standing when everyone else has sold, redeemed, or lost conviction. The ones who reach this level and sustain it are not the ones who were right most often. They are the ones who built something around their edge that could survive the years when the edge stopped working and kept the investors patient enough to wait for it to come back.
5 levels. One question running through all of them. Not the question you think. Not can you pick stocks. Everyone at every level of this industry can pick stocks. That is the entry requirement, not the distinguishing factor. Not can you handle pressure. The pressure is structural. Everyone handles it, or they leave in year 2. The question that runs through every level, the one that determines who makes PM and who doesn't, who makes partner and who runs their own fund, and who washes out at senior analyst with a resume full of the right names and no track record to show for it, is a different question entirely. It is not about intelligence. It is not about process. Stay with us for 90 seconds.
Hedge funds don't reward being smart. Every analyst at every fund in the world is smart. Intelligence is not the variable, it is the floor. What they reward is a specific combination of 3 things that almost nobody can sustain simultaneously. The first, being right at the right time. Not just having a correct thesis,
having it in a position sized correctly when the market is ready to agree with you. The second, holding through the period when the market disagrees, the drawdown before the resolution, the 7 months of 340 basis points of pain before the credit event arrives, the conviction that survives investor pressure, internal scrutiny, and the daily price action that says you are wrong. The third, being wrong without it breaking you. Not losing a position and walking away intact, losing a position, understanding why, updating the framework without discarding it entirely, and being in the market again with the same size the following month. Most people can do one of these things. Many people can do 2 of them in sequence. Almost nobody can do all 3 simultaneously, consistently over a decade. The analysts who became PMs and the PMs who became founders did not get there because they were right more than everyone else. The hit rates at the top of this industry are not dramatically better than the hit rates further down. They got there because they managed their relationship with being wrong in a way that left them positioned to be right when it mattered. That is not a process. It is not a framework. It is not something you can learn from a book or model in a spreadsheet. It is a specific psychological architecture that either exists or has to be built slowly through years of being wrong in front of people who are watching how you handle it. The market doesn't care how you handle it. The people who allocate capital to you do. That distinction is the entire career.
Somewhere, right now, a junior analyst is building a model at 11 p.m. Not because anyone asked, because they found something. A discrepancy in a filing, a data point that doesn't match the consensus narrative, an inventory number that is 3 weeks stale but points in a direction the current positioning doesn't account for. The kind of thing that is either noise or the beginning of a thesis. They don't know which yet. They will write it up. They will present it in a room to someone who has been running money longer than they have been working. That person will listen for 7 minutes. They will ask 2 questions. They will nod. The position may or may not get put on. If it does, the market will decide whether they were right. If they are right, they will learn that being right once is not the career. If they are wrong, they will learn something the market has been teaching at this level for as long as the industry has existed. The market doesn't know your name. It never did. The P&L updates at market open. The game continues.